Assassination is not simply an act of killing. It is a rupture in the social order, a deliberate strike against the structures of meaning that bind societies together. Unlike ordinary murder, assassination is always aimed at more than a person. It is aimed at what that person stands for. When an assassin draws a blade or pulls a trigger, they are not just ending a life. They are sending a message. The victim becomes a symbol, and the act becomes a performance meant to echo through history. Moving to Part 1, Assassination as Symbol Throughout History. Assassination has been both feared and mythologized. Julius Caesar's stabbing in the Roman Senate was more than a personal betrayal. It was a declaration that power itself was shifting. The killing of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914 was not just the death of an aristocrat, it was the spark that ignited the First World War. And then there is Martin Luther King Jr. His assassination was intended to silence him, to break the momentum of the civil rights movement. Instead, it immortalized his dream. His voice, silenced in flesh, became louder in memory. This paradox lies at the heart of assassination. It seeks to erase an idea, but more often it burns that idea into collective memory. The assassin writes with blood what the world may otherwise have ignored. Part 2, Assassination and Morality. Can assassination ever be justified? This is where philosophy struggles most. Some thinkers have entertained the concept of tyrannicide, the killing of a tyrant as a moral duty. The Roman philosopher Cicero argued that removing a tyrant could restore freedom to the people. Machiavelli, though pragmatic, hinted that violence might be necessary to preserve stability. And yet, most modern philosophy rejects assassination as a legitimate form of justice. Why? Because it collapses the distinction between law and murder. It bypasses collective judgment, democracy, and due process. It places the fate of nations into the hands of a single individual with a weapon. Albert Camus wrote that to kill in the name of an idea is to strip human life of dignity, reducing it to a tool. No matter how noble the justification, assassination assumes that history belongs not to the people, but to the assassin's hand. Part 3, The Psychology of the Assassin. But what compels someone to commit such an act? For the assassin, the target is never just a person. It is an embodiment of an ideology, a system, a grievance. To strike at that person is to strike at the world they represent. Some assassins believe they are liberators, heroes, or martyrs for a cause. Others are driven by resentment, despair, or a desperate hunger for recognition. But at the heart of it all is the belief that one violent act can change the course of history. The assassin, in this sense, is both deeply arrogant and deeply fragile. Arrogant in believing they can dictate the future. Fragile in believing they have no other means of influence. Part 4, Assassination in the Modern World even. Today we are reminded that assassination is not a relic of history. The assassination of Charlie Kirk, a figure who, love him or hate him, was known primarily for his words, forces us to confront what it means when political disagreement collapses into violence. A man speaking in a public forum on a university stage was silenced, not with argument, but with a gun. This matters because democracy depends on the exchange of ideas. When assassinations target not soldiers or kings, but speakers and activists, it reveals a society where discourse itself has become dangerous, whether one agreed with Kirk or not. His killing is a reminder that assassination is not just about individuals. It is about the health of dialogue, the possibility of coexistence, and the boundaries of political life. Part 2, The Fragility of Power. Assassination also exposes a haunting truth. Power is always embodied in flesh. No matter how vast an empire or how mighty a nation, its direction can hinge on the mortality of a single human being. The death of one archduke set empires ablaze. The death of one activist changed the civil rights movement. The death of one political figure today can send ripples through the fragile balance of democracy. Assassination strips away the illusion of permanence. It reminds us that history is fragile because history is human. Part 6, The Paradox of Silence. But here is the irony. Assassination rarely achieves its intended goal. To kill a person is not necessarily to kill their cause. More often, it does the opposite. The victim becomes larger than life, transformed into a martyr. Their voice is etched into collective memory, their image immortalized. In silencing, the assassin amplifies. In erasing, they engrave. This paradox reveals the futility of assassination as philosophy. It aims at control, but so often creates chaos. It aims at silence, but so often create conclusion. Living with